Hi guys, sunny day at Silverstone, and this is the end of the day. Yeah, as you can see, a beautiful afternoon at Silverstone, and the car is irrelevant. It's just because it was when we were practicing for the second preseason event from Virtual Endurance Championship Division 2. We were practicing in our team's car, Atlantic Motorsport, might as well say the name, while we found ourselves in this amazing scenario, which is in this specific day, Silverstone, by the end of the season, by the end of the afternoon, sorry. So this brought me the idea of bringing another of those videos from OnWheelsTV where we talk about the qualities of rFactor 2, because once you are in this scenario and you look at the quality of this of the graphics provided currently by the sim, at least speaking for myself, that doesn't stop never to amaze me. The realism provided nowadays by the graphics on rFactor 2, and at the moment I'm just speaking about the graphics, is outstanding. As you can see, you could imagine yourself in reality at Silverstone in the end of this day and see this same images, this same realism or graphics that you are watching virtually when you are in the track. Those of you that already went to the UK, to Great Britain, to England, however you decide to call it, probably noticed that there the lighting works like in most countries in the world, different. Why? Because the weather is so unstable. It rains so many times, so much more than in other parts of the world on a daily basis, that the lighting is different even when the sun is shining. So there's something that we know, or speaking for myself, since I have visited England several times, I know that there is always the chance, even when the sun is shining, that you can see some mist in the air, in the atmosphere, in the ambience, and that is something that if you pay attention you can spot when you are watching this virtual approach by rFactor 2. Currently the sim has been developing new tools, upgrading and updating the good tools it already has, and it has been step by step solving problems that are reported by the community, the anxious community that lives the sim and expects this to be an ever better simulation platform. That doesn't mean only about the physics of the cars, only about the sounds, only about the graphics. It means overall. And this is what look, the mist there, yeah, as I mentioned. This is something that people that went to England, and not only England, also Ireland, Scotland, Wales, know that this is something that happens on a regular basis, even when the sun is shining. So rFactor 2 is known for the realism of its simulation in every single way, but these guys from Studio 397 for several years having their hands on the sim, these guys never stop working and trying to get it better, working and trying to listen to what the community says, even when sometimes they seem to not be listening. And that is the case when they are already announcing the soon arrival of the so long awaited new UI. That is something they are working on, and that is something that we can be sure we will be experiencing really soon. But this video is not about that. This video is definitely about the graphics, and on that matter, Studio 397 made a huge step forward when they started working on the physically based rendering tool for the sim, a tool that allows that the materials and the lighting conditions in the sim work so much better and flow so much naturally, more naturally than the previous language, if I can call it like this, used in the sim. And that is what we can see developing. This is a work in progress, obviously. It has been done a lot of work in terms of the outside of the cars, in terms of the lighting in the cars, in terms of the way the lighting of the cars affects the lighting on track, in the way that the lighting of the scenario affects the lighting of the track. But they are now starting to work in the lighting inside the car, in the cockpit. So we can expect to see some big news and some important developments in that matter in the coming months. But for now, let us focus on what we can see and the looks on the outside. This was recorded in a continuous session in the server from simracing.club while practicing for the second preseason event of the Virtual Endurance Championship, as I mentioned in the start of the video. So we entered the server to practice. I, George Cabrita, editor at OnWheelsTV, am one of the drivers, one of the 4 drivers in the 291 Atlantic Motorsports Porsche 911 RSR GTE that competes in the GTE class in the Division 2 of the 3 that are part of this championship for its 12th season. Yeah. So I entered the server and I had to adjust myself to the conditions present at the time. And these were the conditions. So it was the end of the day. So we are getting closer tonight. As you know, there is dynamic weather and there is the natural progressing of the day and the day and night transition on rFactor 2 works to perfection. And that is something that when you are practicing like I was at this time of the day, you can experience. So within the time frame of maybe 1.5 hours, the light changed so progressively and so naturally, but you can always and almost at the same time, and that's what I wanted to show you in this video, you can always see how it develops. So if you pay attention to this camera angle 2 or 3 laps before, the lighting was a little bit different than it is now, but you cannot stop to be amazed, impressed by the way the lighting, the shadows, the glows of light work in the car throughout the entire experience currently available on rFactor 2. And that is something that, as I mentioned, it does really impress me a lot, because I pay a lot of attention to the graphics in every sim, and I'm a passionate person for every sim out there that can be called, in fact, a sim. Although I also enjoy some very good video games that are closer to simulations or to a simulator, without being able to at the same time guarantee all the details that make it a proper simulation. Anyway, on rFactor 2 we can experience an overwhelming sensation of being inside a car or inside competition, both because of the graphics currently provided in the sim and the way that those graphics make this experience so much real to our eyes, but also because of the other things that rFactor 2 has to offer. You are practicing on track and you are watching lap after lap, because you are not practicing alone. That can happen faster. You are watching lap by lap as how the rubber stays on track, making it easier for you to get better lap times, but not necessarily making it easier for you to drive, because the car becomes much more demanding to drive. Also, they are now working also more in the physical damage of the cars, in the way you see the damage of the cars. Although in that matter, Studio 397 still needs to improve a lot to be able to say that their damage model is competitive compared, for instance, with the one currently available and still being developed on iRacing. Even so, if you bring to the table the graphics, the quality of the graphics, just look at this, guys. It's amazing. The image provided by rFactor 2 is absolutely stunning. Yeah, as you can see, the light is pure, it's bright, it's real, it's beautiful. But if you bring to the table the graphics, the physics, the sounds, the way they are working in every detail, and don't forget the driving experience overall, to be able to race for 24 hours with the weather, making the progression in such a real way. The dynamic weather, because this is the only sim where you can add to what I mentioned, the rain, the fog, the rain bringing the water to the track, then the rain stopping and the track becoming dry in the driving line, getting that driving line drier with the more drivers that can be on track. This overall makes the experience provided by rFactor 2 truly unique. This is the way I have to say this. There's a lot of people contesting the quality of rFactor 2. I don't know why they do that. I really don't know why they do that, because it makes no sense. And with the utmost respect for all sim racing brands, yeah, just a new stage of the practice. No use to continue showing that lap on track, and let us go to the final section of the video with the final footage. This is really close tonight, as you can see, but it makes no sense that people can't enjoy this, because this is, in my opinion, with the utmost respect for every other sim racing brand, because all of them have their own talents to expose. They are all really good, but overall rFactor 2's experience at the moment continues, in my opinion, to be the most complete, continues to be the best when it comes to the graphics and the driving. Although in some ways, in a lot of ways, iRacing is also really close to perfection in terms of the graphics, but it still misses a strong performance in terms of the day and night cycle, and it still does not have dynamic weather. So it's really great. Look at the quality of this. Look, it's perfect. This is perfect. Yeah, this is, in my opinion, the true definition of a perfect graphics performance in a sim. And Studio 397 has been, in fact, working really hard, but they are delivering tremendous quality sim. So for us, users of rFactor 2, it's great to see the way this is going, and we can hardly wait for what the future brings, regardless of what new cars arrive to the sim. But this is overall becoming a really good and always improving experience. Also, they are now working, and they already shown some of that during Sim Racing Expo, which I was unfortunately absent from. Hope next year I can really go for the first time to this huge event, this huge sim racing event, probably the most important during the year in terms of exhibitions and opportunities to bring people together from all sides of sim racing. But they already shown or made some previews in Sim Racing Expo about the new competition system, which I believe will also be a strong step forward from Studio 397 in terms of where we want to see rFactor 2 going. So always from time to time Studio 397 keeps delivering great news for the sim, and users of rFactor 2 can only be proud of what they are experiencing at this moment and be optimistic towards the future. Guys, I hope I wasn't too boring with this video. It's just my way of showing my passion for sim racing and acknowledging the good work that sim racing brands do. I do this with every sim, and yeah, it was great to practice at this time of the day, although sometimes it was hard to see the perfect braking points and see the best line possible because the sun makes it so difficult. But this lighting makes up for it all, because it's perfect to be driving in such a beautiful scenario provided by Studio 397. Hope you enjoyed this video, guys. If you did, please click the like button and help us grow at OnWheelsTV. Bye bye.